Hey everybody, welcome back to Adventure World in Godot. So in the last video we changed the behavior of our snail to turn around back and forth when he's inside a hole like this and he hits a wall. In this video we need to fix him hitting the bush, or hitting bushes. So what we're going to do, I actually already did this and I need to undo it. We're going to use the collision layers and masks to adjust what can be hit or not. So if I look at my raycast here, by default they're always on this first one. Now I've already labeled these, and the way you label them is you go up here to project settings, then down here under layer names you pick the 2D physics, and then you pick the layer number, which they start at the top left there and they go to the right, and you can give it a name. So I can say like my ground, let's just say ground. Right? And we'll close that. So now when I bring up my mask, it says ground. So what I want to happen is I only want this to collide with the ground, right? Because that's my tile map. So I also need to go to my level and set the tile map to be the ground. And so that's the layer that it's on. It's right there. Alright, so now he should ignore the bush. I hope. There we go. So now he's ignoring the bush, but he's still colliding with the walls. Alright, fantastic. So you have to be careful with these, because if I changed the mask on this as well to be ground and then played, what's going to happen is my player is going to fall right through the world. So anything looking to collide with the ground is no longer going to collide unless I also set it to be on the right mask. Alright, so let's fix that back. Alright, everything's good again. Okay, so I don't want to go into too much detail on those, but that's what that's for, is deciding what can collide with what else. Alright, so another little cleanup thing I'd like to do here, when I add a second snail, so let me go ahead and do that. You notice, well, there I just made a big mess, but now they're both just sitting out here, and if I had like 30 enemies, they're going to make a big mess. And like the static objects, I want to roll those up. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's add a node 2D, and we will call those enemies. Just like that. And we'll move both of those inside there, and we'll lock it. Right? I probably should lock my static objects too. That way this node doesn't move around on accident. Okay, so all my enemies will go in here. I've got a snail up here, so if I run this, he's going to run right off that cliff. Let's fix that. Let's make my snail turn back and forth on top of this platform. So let's go into the code. Well, actually, let's first jump into the enemy snail. And just like this raycast that we put here, let's add another one. Now, I adjusted the settings on this a little bit. I've been playing around. I've had some issues with the two of these things that we're about to do triggering together in weird ways. So you may have to play with some settings to get things to behave correctly. We're going to add another ray. We're going to call this one down ray. So the idea of what we're trying to do here, well, let's go ahead and move this out. Oops, wrong one. Move that out, down, about there, and it probably only needs to be about 10. Okay, so the idea of what we're trying to do here, let's go to our level so we can kind of visualize this, is we want to say that if the snail, he's running around, see that's colliding right now with the ground. Oh, he will actually fall to here. That's colliding with the ground right now, right? But when he gets to here, it's not colliding with the ground. So this is where we would like him to turn around at. Okay? So, first things first, I think I forgot this, was, remember we forgot to set that collision mask. So we need to set that with the ground because that's what we're going to be colliding with. And then, let's go ahead and move him back. What we're interested in is if I need to make a reference to this because I've got the front ray but I don't have the down ray. So let's go ahead and make a reference. Copy it, down ray, cast 2D, so that should give us a reference. So now down ray dot is colliding, and then we'll say print found ledge. Okay. Now, you'll notice something about this. I actually didn't want when it's colliding, I want when it's not colliding. So let's go ahead and make that small change. So colliding, I can just say not colliding. Right? Another way I could write the same thing is to say down colliding equals false. So this statement will return true when this is false. Alright? But it's probably clearer to just say if not downright is colliding. So let's go, and I got a whole bunch of found ledges there. Let's play that again and see if that happens when that starts. So bunch happened right away, and I think that was because I start the let's jump over to level 1, go to our scene, actually start him off in the air. So let's start him off down here on the ground and see what happens. I still got a bunch. Interesting. This may not be working the way I think it is. Let's try this just to make sure I'm not crazy. Still getting it. Alright. Let's go ahead and make him turn around, and maybe it'll be a little bit more visual. So this is the code that we use to make it turn around. Actually, I need all three. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Let's see what happens. So he's just going crazy right there. So let's see. Now I know I only want to check this when he's on the ground. So is on ground. Let's try that. And colliding is false. Let's see if this helps any. Oh, it's not ground, it's floor. Same function we used back when we did the player, and we were checking for jumps and things like that. Still going crazy. I'm doing something wrong. Let's check here. So, one thing I'm wondering, raycasts are not supposed to interact with each other, and I moved this to collision mass 2, so it shouldn't be interacting with this one. Sorry, this one, because this is on layer 1. So I'm not quite sure what he's hitting. Ah, he's not enabled. That's one thing. That may be what my problem was. I bet that function, if we looked at our function here, I bet is colliding always returns false no matter what if the ray is turned off. So let's try that. Now it's working. That's funny. Alright, so he's working. That's great. Now in this case, this guy's turning around, and I think what's happening is his downward ray is hitting hitting the bush. Well, it shouldn't be hitting the bush. Interesting. Let's scoot this down a little bit. Actually, let's move it right underneath. Let's try that. So some of this may take some experimentation to get just right. There, it's working now. So, yeah, you may have to play with these settings. My daughter, as soon as she saw this, she said, "Those snails move way too fast, Daddy." So I realized we need to slow them down. So the way we can remember, we set the acceleration and max speed up here in the actor, right? But we don't want to affect how fast our player moves. So what we can do to override these is we can do the function ready function. And inside of that, we're going to erase the var thing because we can't reinitialize these, but what we can do is in the ready function we can change their values. So let's lower that quite a bit. Let's lower that a little bit and give that another try. So there we go. The snails are moving a lot slower. And my rays are still behaving good, so that's great. But I was having issues when I had it up in front. Sorry for jumping around on you. When I had this set up here, I was having lots of issues where this was interfering, and the two things were interfering quite a bit. So it seems to be working quite a bit more if we tuck it right underneath there a little bit. Oh, now that's colliding again. So yeah, it's a little finicky. I'm not sure what exactly is going on. What I did do is I added a now it's working just because I tweaked it a little bit. Alright, so you may have to play with yours, and I apologize for not having the exact answer at the moment. I'm a little bit new to Raycast as well. It does seem repeatable, so hopefully we shouldn't have any issues with that changing in the future. But these are kind of new to me as well, but they're very useful and they're very efficient, so we should be able to create many of these snails and put them on the scene without having too much performance issues. So let's see. I think that's probably it for this session, or this video. We could adjust this a little bit more. This still seems a little bit fast to me. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, those are moving at nice snail speeds. Now he's colliding with, I guess, the edge of that tile. I have no idea. Let's edit him a little bit. Move that right in there. Oops, I meant to move this other one. Save that. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, we may have run into a minor bug there, I'm not sure. But yeah, this seems to be working, so I hope this helped, and let's see, in the next video, right now we don't have a way to, these snails will hurt me, but I don't have a way to get rid of the snails, and I'd like to be able to jump on top of them like that and damage the snails, so I think that's what we'll do in the next video. Alright, thanks for watching, and enjoy!